Hi, today we are going to talk about morph transitions. So, morph transitions are mainly used to provide connectivity between slides. When you apply morph transition to a particular slide, it takes the objects that we have copied from the previous slide and gives it a motion like style. So, it is easier for us to explain it to our viewers and the slides become much more comprehensible. So let's see this in action, and I've used an example, a very practical application that you might use in your presentations, and something that makes the same story a lot more relatable. So I'm going to narrate the same story in two different ways. The first way, there is no morph transition. There's the simple slides, and in the second narration I'm going to include the morph transition and show you how it works, and you'll see the difference. So let's try and do this. Go to Shift F5 and I'm going to slideshow mode. So say I have a company and I'm explaining to my investors that I've got a company, I've got centers in two places in India. One is in UP and another is in Maharashtra. Now I'm going to explain further about these two centers. The center 1 and center 2 both have got three systems. Center 1 has got systems 1, center 2 has systems 2, and has got so and so components. Now I'm going to delve further into systems 1 and systems 2, explain it to you in detail. So this is how systems 1 and 2 looks like, and the implementation of these two systems is followed certain timeline, and the timeline can be shown on this slide. As you can see, in September, October, such step 1 was carried out, and so on and so forth. Now let's delve into each of these steps in detail, which I'm going to explain it to you in this particular slide. So as you've seen, in this particular narration, there was no connectivity at all. I was speaking, and it was up to the audience to actually move their eyes across the slides as I transition from one slide to another. Now I'm going to repeat the same narration in a different style. So let's start. So I have a company in centers in two locations in India. One is in UP and another is in Maharashtra. I'm going to explain you the details of the center in the next slide. Center 1 has got systems 1 with 3 subsystems. Center 2 has systems 2 with 3 subsystems. Let's delve further into systems 1 and systems 2. This shows you the exploded view of each of the systems. The implementation has been done over a certain timeline. Let's go through each step in the timeline in detail in the next slide. So as you've seen in the second narration, it was much more easier to actually grasp what I'm trying to focus on or what I'm trying to explain. So that's what morph transition does. Let's try and create the same effect using these slides. Okay, let's go to a new slide. We'll insert a chart over here. In charts, you can see there's something called as map. Click on that. Okay. Wait for some time, it will open up an Excel sheet for you, and the Excel sheet has got a list of places and different values associated with it. The values will show what is the intensity of the color which is associated with that particular country. For example, United States over here is 8. Therefore, United States here is slightly light because the scale runs from 6 to 12. How is the scale decided? The scale is decided based on the minimum and the maximum values that you associate with the countries in your Excel sheet. So this is a very simple way to introduce a map in a PowerPoint. I'm going to delete all these because I just need the country India. And since I need states, so I'm just going to enter the name of some of the states. I'm going to write Maharashtra, I'm going to write Uttar Pradesh. As I write Maharashtra and Uttar Pradesh, it creates the entire map because it tries to show the places in a contiguous zone. So from MP to UP, it could have shown a part of it, but probably that's how it works. So I want to highlight them. I'll give them the same values. I'll give them 4, 4 so that both of them are of the same color. Okay, so let's talk about how to create a morph transition. So as you can see, this is a map of India, and I insert certain icons of location. These are simple text boxes in which I have typed the text that I want. Now, in order to create morph transition, it is very essential that the elements which need to have which need to be moved in order to create a motion-like effect have to be exactly copy-pasted to the next slide. So I clicked on all of those, holding down Shift button, and I clicked on Control Copy, Control C, and on the second slide, I simply clicked on Control V and just place them at the appropriate locations. And since these are already pasted, I'm just going to delete whatever I've just done. So this is simply the icon and the text boxes copied from the previous slide. And when I go to transitions, so these are different transitions that you can use. I click on Morph. So as you can see in Morph transition, there's small boxes which are moving. So it shows that, move things on the previous slide to their new locations on the current slide, right? To get best results, duplicate a slide, move things around, apply the Morph transition. So basically when you duplicate the slide, you have got the exact same objects, right? If you have got an entirely different slide, you can simply copy the objects from the previous slide to the next slide. So when I go to Shift, I click on Shift F5 and click on Next. These objects that I had copied from this slide seem to be moving, right? Similarly, in order to move these three boxes, these are simply shapes. So I clicked on Shift and one by one I click on all these shapes. Click on Control Copy, or you can right click and copy. Go to the second slide. I simply pasted them all. Pasted them as picture and I pasted them all here, right? And since I've already got those pictures, all those shapes already on this slide, so I'm not going to repeat the process. But now when I go to transitions, click on Morph. It applies Morph transition. You can see a small star over here which shows any kind of animation or transition that which indicates that you have applied certain animation or transition to this slide. And if you click on that, if you click on this particular star, it will show you what kind of transition or animation you've got, right? One second, I think I've got, okay, that's all right. So I go to Shift F5, click on Next. You will be able to see that these three systems move to their new locations. I'd actually copied the name Systems 1, Systems 2. I'd copied these text boxes as well to the next slide. Therefore, it was showing a transition of the text boxes as well. Similarly, over here in my timeline, these were created using simple shapes. You can create that using SmartArt as well. So I just grouped all of these shapes together. Okay. So here I'll Control Copy this, go to the next slide, go to Control V, paste it, and just turn it 90 degrees. Reduce the size using Shift and left arrow, right? And just going to reduce the size of the text, right? Make it black. Now I go to, I've already applied the transition. I think the transition is already applied. Just going to remove it. I'm going to go to transition, click on Morph. The small star appears. If I click on the small star, it'll show me how this particular transition occurs. So if I go to Shift F5, it shows me the kind of movement that I want. So the morph transition comes in very handy to show connectivity between slides. So that's about it. Thank you.